The city sleeps in thin sheets of rain, neon blurring into puddles. At 1:12 a.m., the quiet in Lena's high-rise apartment is the kind of silence that makes small sounds feel enormous. The click of the kettle, the rustle of a newspaper left half-folded, the ritual hum of a home that knows its owner's footsteps. Lena Blackwell moves with the economy of someone who has practiced control all her life. At 27, she's become a name in the startup scene, the CEO who takes impossible ideas, shrinks them down into executable plans, and makes them happen. She has the composure of someone used to being watched, the calm of someone who can be bold without being loud. Tonight her office lamp is still on. A soft jazz track floats from a speaker she barely notices. She's reviewing a pitch deck, but the blue light of her laptop makes her face soft and human, not the crisp, angular headline the business pages print. When the knock at her apartment door comes, 3 hard, urgent raps in the stillness, the sound is so out of place it jolts her. No one knocks at that hour. Lena pauses. Instinct and protocol tell her not to open alone. Her hand moves to the intercom by habit. She expects a mistake, a delivery, a drunken neighbor. "Who is it?" she asks into the small speaker, voice neutral, measured. For a heartbeat the hallway gives nothing back but rain. Then a voice, thin and raw. "Lena, please. Let me in." Her breath stutters. She knows that voice like the back of her own hand, a knowledge she tried to bury when it hurt too much. 3 years compress into one impossible second. She opens the door. Aria stands in the dark hallway, soaked to the bone, hair plastered to her cheeks, eyes wide and fierce and frightened. She's a little older than Lena remembers. Time has sharpened her features into something that could cut glass, but she is still the person who once read magazine articles into midnight rooms, the person who once made Lena's chest clench with a glance. She is, somehow, even more beautiful in misfortune. Rain on skin makes colors raw, vulnerability makes lines softer. Aria. The name comes out quieter than Lena expects. Aria swallows and the sound is small. "Please. I don't have anywhere else to go." The old war of loyalty and self-protection wages in Lena's face. Her training as CEO has made her good at calculating risks. Her life taught her to be bold, but not reckless. Her pulse is steady, her jaw is calm. Still, something older than business sense pulls, a thread she thought she'd cut. "Come in," she says, and steps aside. Aria walks in like someone entering a place of dangerous welcome. The apartment is small compared to the penthouse floors she's used to in magazines, but it has warmth nevertheless. A stack of design books, art leaned against a wall, a small succulent in a ceramic pot. Lena freezes for the briefest of moments. This is not the set for corporate headlines. This is the set for fragile evenings and the slow architecture of a person's unguarded life. Aria staggers, and Lena catches her without thinking, arms going to waist and shoulders with the reflexive care of someone who refuses to let another person fall. Up close, Aria smells of wet pavement and crushed citrus, a note Lena recognizes, a perfume she once hated for being too loud, now strangely comforting. "You're hurt," Lena says quietly. Aria's laugh is a small, broken thing. "I'm fine," she says, but the way she presses a hand to her side says otherwise. Lena guides her to the couch. She retrieves the small first aid kit she keeps for scrapes and late-night kitchen disasters, not for this. The rhythm of Lena's hands is calm and trained. Gauze, antiseptic, gentle pressure. When Lena peels back the damp fabric of Aria's shirt, a bloom of purple and angry red has taken residence on Aria's ribs. Blood has dried along the seam. The sight knots something in Lena's chest: anger, protective instinct, and uninvited desire. Aria watches Lena with a strange, raw curiosity, like a person watching someone do something intimate and sacred. "You always were the one who could keep my hands steady," she says. "You used to be better at breaking rules," Lena replies, breath a low hum in her throat. Their fingers brush as Lena dabs at the wound. The contact is electric, immediate as a jolt. For a second the world narrows to the two of them, the antiseptic smell and the hum of the heater, Lena's hand light on Aria's skin, Aria's breath catching at the contact. When Lena's thumb trails over Aria's wrist, Aria's eyes close for a glimpse, a confession masked as relief. How did this happen? Lena asks, voice even. Aria's joy tightens. Her gaze drops to the floor, then back to Lena. I was careless, she says. But I didn't come here to talk about bruises. Aria's fingers find Lena's without ceremony. I'm being followed. Lena's grip tightens. By who? Aria spits the name like it's a stone. They people at the network. Men who weren't happy with what I found. Lena inhales slowly. The quiet flood of responsibilities she bears companies, investors, reputations rush in like tidewater. Protecting herself and her assets has been a life lesson. Protecting another person is something else entirely. But when the person is Aria, the walls she built for 3 years wobble. You shouldn't be here, Lena says, though her voice curls around the edges of the lie. Aria's laugh is breathless. Where else was I supposed to go? Darkness lunges at the windows as the rain reasserts itself. The storm is an exclamation mark. Something in Aria's face is too raw to hide, the edges of terror, and beneath it, a ferocious stubbornness Lena remembers all too well. Aria had always been the kind to step into a story and let the world catch up later. She is reckless and brave in equal measure, the kind of woman who writes truths that make people angry. You lied to them, Lena accuses, softly, not yet realizing she's speaking aloud the question lodged in the air. I didn't lie, Aria says. Her fingers tighten in Lena's. I told the truth. Only the wrong people didn't like it. Aria's mouth trembles. She leans in, too close to be merely conversational. Lena, she breathes, voice gilded by fatigue. I thought of you. I thought you wouldn't look for me. I thought. You were the one person who would be honest even if it made it worse. The confession lands and both of them are left holding its heat. Lena realizes she remembers the small things. Aria's laugh when she dropped coffee on a press suit, the way Aria argued ethics at 3 a.m., the way Aria's hand had brushed hers in the newsroom, and they both pretended it meant nothing when it meant everything. You don't have to explain, Lena murmurs. She has so many reasons to be practical. Call the police, a safe house, corporate security. But her throat tightens when Aria looks at her like that, like a woman trying to anchor herself to something real. An impulse older than decisions takes shape. Lena stands, crosses the tiny living space, and slips off her jacket. She hands it to Aria. For a heartbeat, the transaction is mundane, an act of charity. For a second longer, it becomes something intimate, the outermost barrier of Lena's public life offered to someone who's been on the outside. Aria wears it like an apology. Warmth seeps between them. You can stay, Lena says before she can veto the thought. Aria's eyes shine. You don't mean that. Lena does. She knows she's risking the neat lines of her professional life. She knows she's letting a storm in. But when Aria tugs the jacket closer with a small, grateful smile, Lena's resistance loosens. Night gives them permission for one stolen thing. The phone call Lena makes to a friend in an old, discreet way. No security teams, just quiet. Cover me, she tells Evelyn, a woman who owes Lena more than Lena's title suggests. Please. Lena doesn't tell Aria about the people she's called. She doesn't have to. Protection, in Lena's world, can be a whisper or a squad. Tonight it will be whatever Aria needs. Lena is not yet sure which. They sit together on the couch under a blanket Lena fetches. Rain plays percussion against the windows. The lamp gives the room an amber glow. Time, miraculous and cruel, makes the old ache resurface. Aria leans her head against Lena's shoulder. Once again, the small ordinary danger of touch becomes everything. You still want me, Aria says, soft and more certain than Lena likes. You never left, Lena replies, the honesty like a pivot. The words are small, but they change the room's acoustics. Confession blooms like a bruise. Aria lifts her face. Up close she's raw and real, lips swollen slightly from the cold, eyes lit with want and fear. Lena's fingers go to the back of Aria's neck, a movement archaic and tender. Don't, Lena hears herself whisper, though she wants to say the opposite. She wants to pull Aria into a kiss that will undo 3 years. She wants to stay in this moment until the storm cleanses everything. Her rational mind pushes back. With every inch the world narrows. Office hours, headlines, reputations. With every inch, the old hunger presses harder. I don't want to, Aria says, and her mouth finds Lena's with the kind of urgency that turns the air molten. The kiss is a soft collision at first, tentative, testing, then deeper, a long release. It is a kiss that admits everything they've both covered with professionalism and distance. Hands find hair, fingers slide down a back. The world beyond the apartment stutters and recedes. Lena forgets to be CEO. Aria forgets to be the reporter pushing past every boundary. Their lips move with histories. The first kiss cracks their composure like glass. They break apart when breathing becomes a liability, foreheads touching, eyes locked and starved. This is a very bad idea, Lena whispers, voice ragged. It's the best idea I've had all year, Aria answers with a broken grin. They fall into each other's arms like something inevitable. The craving is physical and emotional, hunger wrapped in the knowledge that this is dangerous. Aria kisses Lena's collarbone like an apology and a claim. Lena answers with a gravity Aria has not felt from her in years. Night gives them small mercies. They linger in the quiet after the kiss, like two people suspended between mistakes and salvation. Aria sleeps then, finally, as if the contact stitches whatever ragged things were open. In the early hours, Lena wakes to Aria's whisper. They're outside. The words crack the soft shell around them. Lena is instantly awake, reasoning and risk-assessing in the same heartbeat. The apartment is not secure. People who want Aria, or the files she carries, are close by. We leave, Lena says. They move like a single unit. Lena grabs a small backpack, stuffing in a few things. Aria wraps herself in Lena's coat. They step into the rain together. Outside, the city is a world of shadows and sharp white headlights cutting through the downpour. They move like ghosts between stalls and trash cans, heartbeats syncopated with the sound of chase. Lena leads because she's a woman who can move from plan to execution in the time it takes most to panic. She navigates back alleys she's memorized from past runs with no sentimental map, a skill that has little to do with her CEO persona and everything to do with a life lived in efficient control. Aria stumbles once, catching Lena's sleeve with a palm so tight Lena feels it in her bones. They're a single strategy now: move, hide, survive. They make it to the rooftop of a neighboring building, a run and jump that would have been stupid years ago, but in the rain and adrenaline feels like salvation. They crouch behind a low wall, breathing hard, rain lashing their faces. Below, the street is a smear of lights and men, figures moving between cars like pieces on a board. We can't go home, Aria murmurs, voice thin. No, Lena agrees. We go somewhere no one will think to find you. They jump again, landing on a narrow catwalk that leads to a maintenance store. Lena's mind slides through options. A safe house is a cliché, but a plan that works. She thinks of Evelyn and a laundromat she runs for friends, the odd shelter for imperfect people. It is messy and it suits people who are real. They move like shadows into the fluorescent hum of the laundromat back room. Nora, Evelyn's friend, blinks at them, then has that look of someone who knows the score and has already reached for keys. In here, she says. The door closes and the lock clicks like a small blessing. They are momentarily safe. Aria's restlessness is febrile. She paces, restless as a caged thing. Lena's hands hover, wanting to hold but understanding some things can only be said by a silence that knows how to wait. Tell me, Lena says, not a demand but an offering. Aria collapses onto a crate. In the dim light of the storeroom, she talks fast, as if adrenaline can outrun danger. There's proof of money trails, shell accounts routed through shell companies. The transfers go to people on the board and to people who don't ask the right questions. I have names. I have accounts. I printed the invoices and put them on a drive. She draws it from inside her jacket like a magician producing a coin, a small flash drive, black and ordinary, the kind of ordinary that holds everything. Why not give this to the authorities? Lena asks calmly. Because they own the people who are supposed to enforce law, Aria replies. Because when the board gets involved, justice wears a suit and an alibi. I've been trying to get an independent investigator. They found me before I finished. Lena sits on the crate beside her and puts an arm around her shoulders like she belongs there. The touch is unremarkable in a household with people like Nora. It's comforting in a way that any curator of broken things knows how to create. You should have told someone sooner, Lena murmurs into the dampness of Aria's hair. I wanted to tell you, Aria confesses. I wanted to tell you because you're the one I trusted enough not to betray me. Lena's chest tightens with the truth of that sentence. It is a dangerous thing, trust given. She has learned to hoard it like rare stone. To hear Aria claim it like that is both honor and wound. They stay up for hours, concocting a messy, careful plan, who to call, which reporters can be trusted, which safe routes can be used. The danger is a thudding thing, a constant reminder that even now the men who want silence might be circling. As exhaustion slinks into the corners, their hands find each other, and the touch is effortless and inevitable. If we get through this, Lena says, voice tender, what then? Aria lifts a wet strand of hair from Lena's cheek. Her fingers are warm and small. Then we stop pretending that distance is love. Lena laughs then, a short, broken sound. Do you know how risky that would be? I have investors. Board meetings. Conferences. Do you know how risky staying safe is? Aria counters. You built a life around control because you were afraid to lose someone you loved. You don't have to keep proving you're invulnerable, Len. They kiss like an answer. It is not the desperate collision of earlier. It is steadier, deep with the recognition of what they now are, allies, lovers, refuge. The kiss says, I choose you, despite the cost. Morning arrives like a thin promise, and with it, the men appear again too late. Nora has a phone pressed to her ear, a friend delivering information to waiting officers. When marked police cars slide into the alley like a last-minute godsend, the men scatter, surprised by the sudden choreography of law. In the aftermath, chaos blooms and then compresses. Statements are given. Evidence is collected. Marcus Hale, the man whose name sent Aria running, is taken away in cuffs, slick with the kind of arrogance that only the caught know. Lena watches him go and feels vindicated and hollow all at once. In the hospital later, Aria's ribs checked and her breath steady, Lena squeezes her hand with a fierceness that makes Aria look up like a sunrise. The monitors beep a neutral rhythm, and in the sterile light, she sees Aria stripped of bravado, truly human, eyes damp with the residual of a night that nearly ended them. You can leave when you're ready, the nurse says, but Aria doesn't want to leave. She doesn't want to go back to the newsroom that now smells like evidence, subpoenas, and enemies. She wants to go home to Lena, to the disheveled apartment that is too small for her reputation and too intimate for her defenses. Come home with me, Aria whispers later, when the sleepiness makes her vulnerable in a way the world rarely sees. If you want me. Lena's answer is a laugh that dissolves into a wet smile. I want you, she says. More than any board approval. They fold into a future neither of them can neatly plan for. There will be headlines, and there will be apologies to be made, to be earned. There will still be work. Lena is Lena, efficient and decisive, and Aria will still write, her pen sharper for what she learned in fire. But they will do it together. On the ride back to Lena's apartment, the city strips off rain like a robe. Lena's hand rests in Aria's, fingers laced, an anchor. They pass cars and cafes, the kind of ordinary moments that seem ridiculous after peril. After they cross Lena's threshold the second time, this time together by choice, Lena helps Aria into the same couch where everything began and sits down close enough to feel breath against the ear. Promise me one thing? Aria murmurs. Lena arches an eyebrow. Promise me you'll stop being so afraid to be wrong, Aria says, voice earnest and small. Promise me you'll let yourself be seen. Lena's laugh is almost a sob. I promise, she says. Then she leans forward and kisses Aria slow and certain. The kiss is the kind that rewrites risk into faith. It tastes like storm-washed air and the stubborn delight of two people who finally learned to answer for what they wanted. They fall into bed together, not in the frantic absence of yesterday, but in the tender surety of now. There are more nights ahead, press conferences, hearings, the slow bureaucratic scrubbing of dirt from reputations. But in the quiet after the storm, in the small luminous hours that belong only to two people, Lena and Aria reclaim themselves. Aria curls into Lena's chest, fingers splayed over a heartbeat she trusts. I love you, she whispers, not dramatic now, only real. Lena presses a forehead to hers. I love you too, she replies, and in the cadence of the words is a vow, not of perfection, but of presence. They sleep in thick, safe honesty. Midnight craving becomes morning warmth, hunger makes room for tenderness, and the dangerous thing that began with a knock at an ill-timed hour becomes the boldest, bravest decision either of them has made. Outside, the city has righted itself. A bus grumbles past, a couple hurries by with coffees in paper cups, pigeons argue over breakfast. Inside, their world is small and fierce and true. They hold each other like a shield and a promise, and for the first time in a long time, both of them are willing to be broken open. Lena and Aria on the couch at dawn, arms wrapped, the sun a pale smear over glass towers. There are scars and there will be long days. But there is also something neither had learned to name until that night, to want someone and to risk everything to keep them. The kiss they share as light comes through the curtains is slow and private, a closing that says, we survived. We chose. We will try. And when the phone vibrates with the first of many messages, lawyers, friends, opportunities, the world, Lena smirks slightly, slides her phone into the pocket, and keeps her hand over Aria's, because there are battles that need strategy. And there are battles that need warmth. Tonight, they won both.